All right. Thank you, Brooke. So I'm just going to pick it up from where you left off. And just a little bit about me. I'm a solution architect with GSI, and I have well over 30 years of solution consulting and 22 years plus with JD Edwards. I'm an across the board kind of guy, covering almost all the functionality in JDE, and I pride myself in staying up to date on the latest and greatest of tools and functionality that Oracle delivers to JD Edwards. So, you know, this particular, and I'm also kind of known as the demo guy to go across the board. So, the reason I bring that that up is just, you know, to let you know, any question about any area in JDE is fair game. So what we're going to do here today in this session is just kind of cover how you can utilize one or a couple of the user-defined objects, UDOs. And this one in particular, we'll focus in on Café One, which stands for Composite Application Framework for Enterprise One, and use these features to help solve drop ship order challenges. Our customer has drop ship orders, and even some of their, they're just single lines on a sales order that are drop shipped items. And when the purchase order is delayed or doesn't get in, then the sales order is getting delivered late and whatnot. So how do we use this, how we could use a system to help them, identify those issues, to drive item alternatives, maybe, who else might supply the item, what other alternate, cross-referenced or substitute items would be available to replace and get the order out quicker to make a happier customer. So we'll be talking and covering how we can map, several applications into the JD Edwards sales order entry screen to help drive and manage the decisions to help solve those issues. And, as I go through this, we can transpose a lot of these kind of functionality to so many areas within JD Edwards, where, you can use these tools to help your users, do better work and solve their issues easier. So I'm going to start, just log in as a sales rep user. And the beginning place I'm landing here is on one of the, if you're not familiar with it, they're called Ux1 Pages, right? This Ux1 page is an out-of-the-box page, which includes alerts, in this case, the Watchlist, My Late Orders, analytical applications, and these are JD Edwards analytical applications, all suffixed with the letter X, which query over inquiry tables in JD Edwards and then present the information in a graphical representation for analyzing what's going on, and then act. So it's alert, analyze, act in these Ux1 pages. There are quite a few of them now that are delivered along with JD Edwards, and all you have to do is enable them security-wise and then do a little query configuration within the application to match up with your environment. What is a branch plant in your facility, or what are your order activity rules and things like that. So our issue here is looking at late orders. I've got 12 late orders that this Watchlist is telling me. And if you're not familiar with Watchlist, you can also find them up on the top here, with late orders. But I'm just going to go here to late orders. And since we're going to focus in on drop ships, I've got a query that just pulls in my drop ship orders. So these are all line item, line type D, which means that there's a purchase order associated to them. And these should have been gone out. That's what the query and the watch list is identifying for me, or for you. So as you highlight any one of these, the first thing you might want to do is, okay, this is for a 17-inch CRT Trinitron monitor, right? quantity of 1, way late, overdue, requested date. And so what you can do is up in the upper on the top of the screen here, this is where you see the layout, right? That's where your Café One layouts are going to be found. So the first thing you might want to do is highlight the row and say, okay, who is the supplier? You know, where is the purchase order? You know, and how do I communicate with that supplier? Now, you can scroll to the right and you can see the purchase order number and document type that is related to this sales order, right? Here we are, there we go. There's the sales order number and document type, but that still doesn't, you know, tell you much about, you know, who the order is, you know, been placed with or anything like that, and or allowing you to communicate, you know, with that supplier. So what I've done is you use Café One, and I'll show you how to create this after we, you know, do a little bit of working in here. I can go to the supplier, to the purchase order. And what this is doing is taking the screen data that we're looking at and mapping it from the P4210 to the P4310 in JD Edwards. So this is showing you over here, we can see the supplier and the supplier number that this order belongs to. And if you want to take advantage of and if you're not familiar with it, these are not really UDOs. These are just newer tools, features in JDE. This one is called a hover. And what that does is it allows to hover a little snapshot for more information about the supplier, including, in this case, who the account rep is, what category code they are, and or being able to collaborate with them, which is pulling their who's who record and the email. So notice as you select that one, that might be the communication. You can click on the send email and it will bring up your personal whatever you're using, Outlook or or Lotus Notes or whatever. Most people are using Outlook nowadays to send the email and map that email address in, so you don't have to leave the screen and look it up or whatever. Right? So what you would probably do, working through this, is quick send an email to that electrical supplier. You can also get their phone number if you needed to get that as well. By switching over to a different view. We could look at the supplier's view. This is taking you right just to the supplier information. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. I was jumping ahead here a little bit. So we were looking at the purchase order view. All right, so it's taking the data off the screen and mapping it. And as I show you any one of these Café One layout components, see there's a pop-up content option, which you can bring it up into a large window, right? So, if you're working with things, you can get more information without exiting or moving around. Just go ahead and close that additional window and you're back to it. So now, so you can communicate with that supplier, send the email off, and maybe even while you're waiting for them to respond to you, you might want to say, okay, who else can I buy this from? This is looking at the supplier catalog. It's in JDE, it's the P4101 application. And you can say, who are my suppliers for this particular catalog item? So we can call up in here. You can see you can get it from there's two different suppliers. Supplier number 4343. Again, you have the hover. You can look up who this is, and see, get their information and collaborate with them. And even if you wanted to say, oh, have you got these in stock, right? There is also Café One capabilities to do a URL link to their website if they provide an iframe view of their items and inventory of availability. If they do that, you could do a Café One to take it right to supplier 4343's website, it's Trade Supplies, and look at their website and see if they've got product in here. You can see here, you buy it from two different suppliers. Another one is a little bit higher cost to you, but just the same, you can use that to decide once If their first supplier isn't able to do it, you can go ahead and change the purchase order and go to the second supplier, cancel the PO, and put a new purchase order in to get the item delivered to your customer in time. Now, if that is or if you've communicated with those suppliers, and if the product is not available, you might then go and look at substitutions, right? You can see what substitute items. So here you can see for this item number 6420, you know, there is an option of a cross-reference to a 6430 monitor, 25 and 21.5-inch monitor that you might just go ahead, and that's a stock item. You might just go ahead and pull that item in and replace the line for the 17-inch monitor with the 21.5-inch monitor, you know, and update the sales order. And go on from there. So I showed you, let me pause for a minute. I mean, we got plenty of time here. Do you have any questions to this point? I'll take that as a no. So how did we get to this, these Café One links? There is an application you'll use to set up security and allow who can do, you know, and create Café One layouts and other kinds of user-defined objects. And it's accessed off the, I think somebody sent a chat. Let me see what's going on here. Okay. I will show you, I can, Angelina, you asked about hyperlink to the supplier, to their website. I don't have a webinar on that, but I can certainly cover some examples of it. I have one example that was to the Grainger catalog. The gotcha with that is the suppliers, in order to get it to display in JDE, would want to have an iframe to display in the small window. Otherwise, you can go to their website, but then you have to pop up to the large extra window, which is not that big of a deal, but it's very doable. Right? And I'll show you when I'm creating a Café One where you would choose the different option for the URL versus the Café One to a J.D. Edwards application. So in order to start taking advantage of these things, just realize, you know, whoever your system admin or your security individual are, you know, you will go into, and this is just the way I navigate to the security workbench, you will set up user-defined object, you know, and you'll set up actions, right? Views would be just who can view the Café Ones. Actions would be who can create and publish and share the Café One. So here is all Café One options for the application. We were working with the P42101, I think it was, right? P42101 sales order entry, you know, view, and you can see these users, JDE, in my case, because I wanted to, for our demo purposes, right? I have the user sales rep can create, publish and modify Café One UDOs. So just be aware, you know, that before you start getting into this, make sure you got security turned on to be able to do what you want to do. So now if I go back into my review orders, right, and I'll just go into an example here. I'm going to clear out the old layout. So just say I don't have a layout, right? And then since I have security set up for me, the sales rep, to be able to create Café Ones, see in the upper right-hand corner here. Oh, what I like to do before I start is get some data on the screen. And then you click up in the right-hand corner and you see where it says Edit Form Layout. We'll click on Edit Form Layout. Now here we're going to click Add. Here is the 3 options I have turned on here. One is an Enterprise One form. That's how we're going to get to the purchase order program or the supplier, master, or the supplier catalog cross-reference, or anyone. If you wanted to go to the supplier's website, you would click on URL to that third-party website. And once I get through the form, I'll show you briefly how you would get into that. So we're gonna, and when you pick these, you drag and drop it. Do you want it below? Do you want it to the right? Do you want it to the left? Where do you want the Café One to show up in it, right? So I'm gonna put it back because I want to put it back over on the right there. Ah, boy, oh boy, I'm not doing, get myself tripped up here. I don't want it up top here. Okay, try this again, and this time I'll pay attention, I promise. So we're going to drag the Enterprise One form, and we're going to put it on the right. Okay. Now in here is where the only thing you really need to do to know Café One is what application, form, and window that you want and version, I'm sorry, that you want to connect to. So in our case here, we're going to the P4310 purchase order, right? And we'll go to I think we'll go to the order detail, or work with order details, so we get right into the detail of it, and we'll just pick a standard. I'm going to go with like just a traditional Z version, whatever your versions are. Whatever your versions are for your company and your location. So I think I wanted to just go with I got too many versions in my demo world here. I should have filtered these out. Sorry, guys. Well, let's just do this guy. And what you want to do then is static link means it's always just going to pop that window up, but you're going to want to go to a dynamic link, right? And when you turn on dynamic link, right, you will see the different options. So in this case, we want to map the purchase order number. And when we say is map to, notice how you get plus signs on your primary form here. And you can scroll over, in my case, into the grid and find the purchase order number and map it, right? So we click on related purchase order number and map it, right? That's okay. It'll still work. And then the order type, we can either remain or we can map it. And the company is probably okay to leave as it is. Then go ahead and save this. And you'll see that it's going to call up the purchase order to go along with it. I picked the wrong version, but that's okay. But that's the main point of the mapping exercise. I can show you the one that I did. I just should have looked at it first to see what the one that I did before. So you can see what I did here. If we get, and once you look at it, you want to go back and look at the information about it. You can see I went to a G form, work with order details, and version AC003, and I mapped the order number, the order type, and the order company into the query for the Café One. So that's the way you map all of these different versions and URLs, these JD Edwards applications together. I can try and find, if you want, an example of a, well, we'd have to do, it'd have to find a website that we can map the data to. And I had it, let me see if I had an example. Well, I'll probably do that for another webinar to map the URL to my Granger website, because I have to go into a different area where I have an item which maps to their item number and queries up on their in their environment, in their world. Now, I thought what I do just to kind of promote a little thought processes here is how you can take advantage of other user-defined objects, and particularly this Orchestrator Studio, which you get with JD Edwards, to go ahead and be even more proactive helping your end users. And you can see what I've done here is I've created a notification in the Orchestrator that tells the user that I've got purchase order for the direct ship that's late. So they don't even have to come to the JD Edwards, Ux1 page. They click on it and they can take them into the purchase order program, and there's taking them into the PO that is late. Same thing we were doing from the Café One layout. And what that looked like, and I won't get into too much of it, but what that looked like was a watch list query that was created in the Orchestrator. So if you're not familiar with Orchestrator, there are different webinars, and we can do some more on the Orchestrator Studio to find and work with creating these things. Creating a watch list and a notification and is very, very easy. This is just a simple notification. There's the message you see, and when it was done, there's how you put the attachment to call the program query and form that we did. Then this can be scheduled in as a notification to schedule, however often you want it to run. And then the person can, get their late order query right from up here. So that is what I had planned to cover here. Brooke, are you still there? Or do we have any questions? Let me see the chat. Let's see if I see the chat.
Let's see if there are any more.
No. Angelina, if you want to send me an email, we can work together with a particular idea, if you want. And I can show you what I've done in the past to do a URL link to a supplier website. And Brooke will give you my email, awesome. I think, at the end of this. So.
Yes, thank you. Let me share my screen again. Can you see this okay, bud?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Just as a follow-up, before we get into if there are any more questions or answers, we offer and provide extensive free educational resources, which include our webcast, our newsletters, our resource center, YouTube, and workshops. So if you go out to our website, you can go to the main page, and then you can click on the menu and just click JD Edwards, and then you'll have all these options over here to choose from, where you can sign up for the webcast and the newsletters, our resource center, blog, conferences, and events. And then we have erptalk.com, which is a problem-solving collaboration site where you can get your enterprise questions answered as well as contribute to other people's questions. And be sure to stay connected with us on social media. All of our handles are currently listed on the screen. We also, on our social media, we share our most up-to-date posts on webcast, events, industry insights, and a whole lot more. So make sure you check that out. And our YouTube page is full of recorded webcasts and presentations and free education. All right, so I'm going to just check one more, make sure we don't have anything else coming in. All right, perfect. So, but we will follow up with Angelina.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, and if there's any other, I realize I showed you how to create them. I'm assuming that people know how to publish and share the user-defined objects, but that might be another topic if you want a little help to know how to do that. There is a user-defined object administration applications, P98220U. And once you create your UDO, your Café One, you request to publish it, and then you go into that application to publish and share. And I can help you with, just making sure you know how to do that kind of functionality, because that's a lot of what this is. It's fine to do for one person, but you want to share it with others. So thanks for letting me follow up with that one.
Yeah, thank you. No, that's perfect. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much, Bud, for your presentation and demo. And thank you all for being here. We're grateful you're able to join us today, and you will be receiving an email with a link that will have the link to the recording as well as the PowerPoint presentation. And then after today's webcast, we will do a drawing for a $25 Amazon gift card, and anyone that attended the entire webcast will be eligible. And if you have any follow-up questions for Bud or myself, you can see our emails currently listed on the screen. And again, thank you for attending, and we hope that you guys have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Bud.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.